Steve Brady. Shaken, not stirred. Shaken, not stirred. Steve Brady.
Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. Good evening.
Good evening.
Has anyone ever had a night that turned out not as planned and things became embarrassingly out of control? Don't be shy. Tonight, I'm going to share with you all a true story. A story about a night I had my first experience having a few too many drinks. Picture this, if you will. I was in snowy Springfield, Massachusetts, in college, and it was about 2 weeks after my 20th birthday. I was always a good student and a good kid. My parents wouldn't have it any other way. I was still living at home, and my mom worked at the school that I attended, so I had a level of scrutiny that most college students did not. One thing that college students like to do is drink. I never had that opportunity. Did I mention that I lived at home? So when my college friends would drink, I had to admit that I was curious, but I never tried because I could never imagine going home drunk. Witnessing the party nights, I would often ask myself, what's the big deal? Why do my friends act so silly when they drink? Why can't these kids hold their liquor? For more than a year and a half, I had held back. But on that snowy night, I decided that I was going to live a little. On that night, I decided I was going to get drunk. Who would it hurt? It was snowing outside, so I couldn't go out. My parents, they were upstairs asleep in their bed. I was downstairs, I was curious, and I was ready and on a mission to have a few cocktails. Next, I took a look at my father's liquor cabinet, and staring back at me was a bottle of shredded Jamaican white rum. I was totally green in terms of what was what, but I heard that rum was good with orange juice. So with that, I made my first drink. It was a good drink, too. Please consider, my father's favorite bottle of Jamaican white rum is not something you'd simply drink and leave him with an empty bottle. Trust me, you don't want him mad, especially after drinking his favorite bottle of Jamaican white rum. To cover my tracks, I had the idea of refilling the bottle with an equal amount of tap water so as to successfully hide the other. As I turned on the faucet, I distinctly recall seeing swirls of water and rum mixed, thinking that my plan was brilliant and that I would never get caught. So with my drink in hand and my mission underway, I took my first sip, and I had to admit, I felt like man. I felt like Bond. James Bond. So I decided to watch some TV, I turned on music videos, and watched beautiful ladies dance the hit songs of the day. As the night progressed, so did my intake. And over time, I realized that I was eventually drunk. However, in contrast to my silly friends, I was still in control. So with my newfound confidence and swagger, I stood up and I started to dance. and my personal party raged on for a while, but at some point, my excitement levels must have peaked, because I needed to sit down and catch my breath. And that's when I fell asleep. Sometime later, I woke up in my t-shirt and my boxer briefs. Don't know how that happened. I figured I must have had more than my fair share. I stood up very slowly, and I realized I was drunk beyond any reasonable control, and that all I could rely on were my survival instincts. I distinctly recall feeling very hot and very dizzy. And what did my survival instincts tell me to do? Take off the rest of your clothes and go outside to cool off and clear your head. I stumbled outside onto my front porch, and I saw the snowfall in my birthday suit. However, in the distance, I saw two figures approaching. Complete panic and shock had me run into my house. I flew up the stairs, and I finally landed safely into my bed. I was dizzy, and I had to go to the bathroom urgently. My bedroom and my parents' bedroom share a hallway, and in the middle was the bathroom. So I had to be very, very quiet, so as to not wake my parents and have them possibly see me in this condition. So with 360 degrees of drunken dizziness, I ran to the bathroom and back to the room. However, it was very dark, and things seemed strangely out of place. I began feeling around for my bed, and that is when I heard the worst possible thing that I could hear. My mother's voice saying, "Steve-o, what are you doing in here?" I realized that I was dizzy, I was drunk, I am standing in my birthday suit in my parents' room, not good. Complete panic had me run out of the room and into my bed. The next morning I woke up with a terrible hangover and I did my best to make it through my classes at school. With my mission complete, I had a greater understanding of why my friends would act so silly when they would drink. That night at home, my parents pressed me with a few questions, and I told them I was dizzy, I was confused and half asleep, and surprisingly, not much more came out of it. And my father never seemed to discover that his favorite bottle of Jamaican white rum had been watered down. It was only years later, over wine at Thanksgiving dinner, that I told my family the truth that night. So for any of you who's ever had a night where things got completely out of control, I understand. Thank you.